All right, so we are now live, and I am going to refresh and make sure that the link has been sent out for this stream. Actually, I don't think it has been because I didn't. I don't think I actually said one way or another that I'm actually streaming. So allow me to set that up, and then we will, get going here. So we're gonna have quite a few articles to get through today, so won't have too much time to mess around. Okay, let me just make sure that. Wow, is this stream been already demonetized? Yeah, it is. The stream has already been demonetized. Jesus. Well, I guess that's if I was doing some sort of fucking kitty porn video, maybe that I can get it monetized. Because apparently YouTube doesn't really have much of a problem with that. But we're talking politics, so obviously that needs to be demonetized. If we're talking the politics of fucking a child, maybe then I get some advertisements on my commentaries, or on my content rather. Not today, it seems. Okay, so let me just make sure that that appears to be working. Make sure that goes to the right place. Yes. Okay, so we're all set. So I'm just going to be in. So this is going to be a newscast. We're going to be going through a whole host of different articles and news events, and then after I'm finished going through these different events, and there's not that many, but we're going to read through a couple of these articles, at least one we're going to go through. But most of these articles I'm just going to touch on, and it's just more recent events and topics I haven't covered, but would like to. And this, unfortunately, is going to be a largely sober stream because, unfortunately, I just don't have access to my liquor at the moment because I got somebody over here, and they'd freak out. I went and got myself some liquor because they're like that. So I'd have myself a beer, but in terms of the liquor, it's not coming out tonight. At least now while they're here. All right, so let me share my screen with you guys, and we will get started. Okay, so I thought it was worth mentioning this, that there appears to be more than just Twitter and Google censoring InfoWars, but by all appearances, there is a general consensus among the different outlets out there, or platforms rather, social media platforms, that InfoWars as an outlet needs to be censored. I've seen also them saying similar things about RT. Now, it should be said that RT is not just a propaganda outlet for Russia. There is something you could say in terms of Russia using RT as, I'm not even sure disinformation would be the right kind of way to phrase it, but it's in essence a tool to spread information that Russia thinks will help undermine the United States. That appears to be something that Russia is doing, but that is something that every nation attempts to do, just not in an overt way, not so an overt a manner as Russia is doing. InfoWars is not funded by the Russian government. It is completely different. Fucking Gab. InfoWars is completely different. It is a privately owned corporation that is run out of Austin, I believe, Texas, by Alex Jones. Alex Jones is not the only person that operates InfoWars. He is just a big figure on it, and it's because he owns it. Paul Joseph Watson, in my opinion, is a lot more credible and sensible than Alex Jones. I find it very difficult to take Alex Jones seriously, and I generally dislike him because he will exaggerate and lie when he doesn't need to. Paul Joseph Watson doesn't very often do that. On occasion, he will get caught in a lie, but he very rarely does it to the degree that Alex Jones does, which is practically on a day-to-day basis. So I'm not surprised when he followed the House Intelligence Committee that's investigating the supposed connections that Russia had to the 2016 presidential election. During this committee that was back on November 7th, they have a video of it right here, but and he says right in it, it's two people. It's a guy representing Facebook, I believe, and somebody representing Twitter. And the person representing Twitter openly said that the website does have members of the team working at Twitter that go out of their way to censor if any information or any articles linked to InfoWars on Twitter. And I also believe that they also go after WikiLeaks. I believe they said that's another source that they go after and try to censor, in effect. And they call it fake news. That is what this is labeled as. But the problem is that no one is actually reading the articles at InfoWars to even know whether there's false information in them, which I'm sure most of you are not surprised by. You're not surprised by the fact that they're not reading these articles. They're just labeling InfoWars as a platform or as an outlet as just quote-unquote fake news. One of the things that is a problem with all of this is that this is a narrative that is just accepted. And the reason why you don't have any people from InfoWars, or not very often, or Breitbart or any other alternative media website or outlet speaking to members of Congress or are testifying or are even on mainstream news that are talking about this subject matter, the reason why they're not there is so that they can't contradict the idea that they are actually putting forward and covering important stories, which they are. On occasion, there are stories that are only covered by alternative media. So whether it's Daily Caller, Daily Wire, InfoWars, Breitbart, there are stories that mainstream outlets will not cover that those outlets will. And that is why it is important to have alternative media, although I do have problems with the Daily Wire. I do have problems with the Daily Caller. I obviously have problems with InfoWars. Better. Every one of these outlets have their problems. But the issue is that they don't operate within this frame of narrative where every other outlet out there cannot possibly be a source of information. They will rail against mainstream media all the time, but even they will concede that they can get information from the mainstream media that is useful. Alex Jones talks about it all the time. Whenever he starts talking about white papers, that's usually what he's referencing, is information and articles and stories that he has taken directly from just the bare bones of an article or press statement that is in the mainstream media. But the problem is that there is an ongoing conspiracy to censor any access to these alternative sites, which are almost all right-leaning. I'm sure that the same could be said of certain progressive alternative media, but the issue is that those weren't the websites they cited in Congress when they were testifying to who they're censoring. It was InfoWars. And so that's an issue, because while InfoWars can put forward false information, so do every single one of the mainstream media outlets. They put forward false information, misleading information all of the time, daily. So that's the problem, is that they hold the mainstream outlets in not the traditional media, but the I forget the word that it is, not iconic. I forget. There's a word for that kind of media, but it's the established media outlets that have been around for a long time. Those outlets can get away with murder in the crap that they put forward. And they don't do retractions either. You know, it's very rare that they'll even retract the false stories that they put out there. But if, you know, they can get away with murder, but the issue is that with InfoWars, rather than holding them to a you know, particular standard, they instead just say that they are entirely fake news and that they should be censored as a result of that. So this is one of the reasons why I don't really take journalism seriously anymore, and why I, you know, use the phrase, you know, hashtag yes all journalists, because I pretty much see every journalist as on the same level as a Paul Joseph Watson or your typical, you know, whoever writes for the Daily Caller, the Daily Wire, for Breitbart. They're pretty much on that same level, in that I don't really hold them to any real regard in terms of objectivity. Paul Joseph Watson, I think, is usually good, but the issue is I've seen him lie, and I expect him on occasion to lie. And the issue is that I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm more than willing to listen to him, but I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. And I think that at this point in time, if you do give any journalist any benefit of the doubt whatsoever on any given story, you're out of your mind, because they are not hiring ethical people in journalism anymore. They hire unethical people at every single outlet on the face of this earth. So they are not to be trusted ever on any story. And I think that that's something we're just going to have to accept at some point, and there should be more pushback on. That whether it's InfoWars or the New York Times or the Washington Post, no one from any of those outlets is to just be taken at face value. None of the people writing for those outlets or reporting for those outlets should be given the benefit of the doubt. You should expect them to be lying, because chances are you'll catch more lies that way, rather than just, you know, accepting whatever they print. So we will, actually, I don't know why we linked over there. So I will talk about this, and it's going to also be in the context that I recently got bored, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to install some different games. I'm going to buy some games that are on sale, and we'll see how they go. So I bought, I don't know if I really want to click on to my Steam profile, but this is unfortunately the me not being prepared. Let's see. It's I bought a, where the fuck is it? Okay, it's Batman: The Enemy Within. So that's the sequel to the first Batman game by Telltale. I just bought that, and I played the first 3 episodes, because there's 3 out currently. So I'll comment on that in a second, but I'm talking about this in that context, that I just recently bought one of their most recent games, and it's a sequel to a game that I was not impressed by. So very recently, Telltale has laid off about 25% of their staff, around 90 people, and this is after they expanded their company following getting a bunch of different licenses that were very big. They got Guardians of the Galaxy, they had Batman, they had, which is DC, they had several others. Game of Thrones, that's another big one, which is HBO. So they had a series of very large licenses given to them to make games based off of. And so, despite that, they failed financially. Telltale has been doing very poorly, and you had the CEO step down, you had a new CEO step in, and then as soon as that happened, I basically said, there's going to be something that happens, this is going to have, you know, heads are going to roll, and guess what? 25% of the staff were laid off. So I was right in my predictions about Telltale, because they've released several sequels and several games in general, quote unquote, that have not done well, that have not sold well, that were not well received by anyone outside of the total sycophants of this organization, of this developer. Doesn't matter how shitty of a game they produce, that people will just accept it. And I was also correct that they are doing one more season of The Walking Dead, and that is going to be it. And the reason why is because the last sequel that they released for The Walking Dead did terribly, was received terribly, got no awards, was not well received because it was a bad fucking game, a bad sequel. And that was their flagship franchise. That's the one, or that's the series that everyone loves to quote to me as if it means anything, because I have literally played every single Telltale game with very limited exceptions. So as it relates to Telltale, I am an expert. If someone wants to tell me something about Telltale, realize that I've played just about every single one of these games, and I pay attention to the goings-on of Telltale. And I now have an insider that has given me information, somebody that knows a former employee before this purge who left the company. So now I have an insider that knows this company. So it's one of the things that irritates me a little bit when people get on my they get on my back or they get on my case about the fact that, oh, well, what about this? What about that? You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, why don't you just for once defer to me? You know, is that possible for some people to just defer to me, that I may know what I'm talking about? You know, if we're talking about some serious political science or some, you know, quantum physics or something, maybe then that's when you don't give me the benefit of the doubt and maybe you stand ready to correct me. But on certain subjects, just be willing to concede the point or be willing to listen, because this is one of the most irritating things is when I talk about Telltale and people get on my case. They greenlighted a sequel to The Wolf Among Us. And I can guarantee you that even if they come out with a quality game, quality sequel, it is not going to save this company. This company is on its way out. And the reason I know this is because they are doing what they need to do to sell more, because they need to have they need revenue. They need profit. But they're not going to get it. Even if they cut costs, even if they lay people off, it's not going to happen. And it's even if they make a quality product. Telltale was a flash in the pan. It is going the way of music games, of harmonics and whoever the fuck else. They had their time. It's now past. And it doesn't matter how good of the game that they release, because I mentioned the Batman sequel because despite certain aspects to that sequel that are badly written and irritating, that includes the fact that it includes Harley Quinn as a antagonist. She is a Mary Sue. She is decent in terms of just overall, like, graphically, and as a, you know, it's a decent iteration of that character. It's not like straying that far from what you'd expect a Harley Quinn to be, but she's a Mary Sue. And there's also another Mary Sue that replaces a character. I'm trying to remember his name. He's not really a second in command, but he's someone that works for Wayne Industries that helps Bruce Wayne with a lot of things. Let me look up his name. Oh, it's Wayne Enterprises, actually. Let me see if I can find his fucking name. Fuck me. I always forget. I can't find his fucking name. Fucking whatever. Anyways, so they kill off that character and they replace his character, who is a good character. I like his character. He's existed in the Batman lore forever. He's in pretty much all the games where they have Wayne Enterprises as any kind of reference. He's usually there and talked about. And he pretty much it depends on which iteration, but half the time he runs the company in Bruce Wayne's stead. And he's in this game, and they kill him off. And they kill him off in a predictable fashion that I saw coming, and they replace him with a SJW archetype of a woke black woman in tech with a shitty haircut. And I hate her character. She is about as much SJW character as you'd expect. She's smarter than Bruce. She's smarter than her own father. She is incredibly rude to Bruce and even her own father. On day one, she gets hired at the company and is then rude to the guy that runs it because she knows him. But the thing is that there's a difference between your family friend and once you work for somebody. It is ridiculous for someone to act in the way that she does in the video game, and the reason she can get away with it is because she is a woke black female that's smarter than both of them and is in tech with a shitty haircut. Other than certain aspects like that there is a predominance given to women in the game that is not natural. Overall, the sequel is actually better than the original in many ways, graphically, stylistically, the writing, the story. Overall, despite having problems, it's better, as far as I can tell in every way, than the game, Batman, whatever the fuck it is. And I didn't expect that when I bought it. I expected it to be schlock. But when I played it, I was like, wow, other than these few things, this is actually better. There's a decent amount about this that I actually like. But the fact is, I already know this sequel is not going to sell. And as far as I know, it hasn't sold well, despite it being fucking Batman. And that is because this company is fucking Harmonix. It has pushed itself to the point where it has a bad reputation or almost no reputation. It guided itself, or it perpetuated itself based on awards, based on constant press. And the fact is that the press seems to be now turned off to Telltale for whatever reason. And because of that, the company is failing. Because enough people have played their games and said this is shit and decided that, rightly, they're not going to try this company's products anymore because it's a waste of their money. And that, to me, is what happens. And this, to me, is also a sign of just the Western industry in some respect, where no matter how many sequels you do and no matter how good they are, it doesn't matter. You had your chance, it's over. And your company's over. Maybe slow, but you're done. And I think that it's safe to, stick a thermometer in Telltale at this point because they're done. They could come out with The Wolf Among Us 2. It could be the best game fucking ever made. The company's done. It's over. And you can put a pin in this now if you want to use this as my prediction. I've already made this prediction. It's just there's more evidence on top that even if they put out good products, this company's over with. They would have to do something that is so radically innovative that it's wall-to-wall news in gaming and is something that's going to be an award bait. That's the only way they're going to break their current trajectory, which is just down. Just downward spiral. They're not going to get any more licenses past the point of what they have now. If they do, it's a miracle. And it's through finagling. But when you can't make a hit series, when you fail to produce a hit series with some of the biggest names on the market right now, then that is a sign that your company has no future. And I just thought I would talk about this for a little bit because it's important to just talk about this, because even if you release a good sequel, it's not good enough. That doesn't guarantee that your company has a future. I've talked about this with Bethesda, who's had a terrible year. Terrible fucking year. People told me that, or to some degree, that Wolfenstein 2 was a good sequel. It's worth it, Louis. Go play it. It's worth it. I don't like your video. It's worth playing. It's like, I don't care if it's worth playing. It's not going to save that developer. Terrible sales. Absolutely abysmal sales. And that's like the third game this year alone that Bethesda's had terrible sales. One of the exceptions where or one of the games included in that where I see as an exception is Prey. Prey actually didn't deserve the bad sales that it had, but it did actually have bad sales. It did poorly. And that is not even debatable, because even they themselves, and I'd have to dig up the article, have flat out said it's sold terribly. And that's unfortunate, because I liked Prey. I think it was a decent game and may warrant a sequel. But the problem is, if it doesn't sell well, it isn't going to get one. So that's, too bad Bethesda. They're not having a good fucking year. Here's a fairly small story that I'm just going to mention in passing. I did a video recently where I mentioned the fact that one of the people that are out there who's a male feminist anti-gamergator was charged with child pornography. And this is the guy. This is one of the two that I mentioned. And he actually pled guilty for child pornography. And he must have taken a plea deal, because they dropped 2 different charges. So he is now going to be going to prison for however long. And he's going to be going to jail for child pornography, and he's going to be on the sex offender list for the rest of his life. So, yeah, just another male feminist, I'm sure I'm a bad guy in some way, even though, my job is, the opposite of what he, it's literally bringing people to justice on behalf of the state and corporations that are being defrauded. But, I'm probably a piece of shit because I was a member of Gamergate. Unlike this guy who is going to jail for fucking being a potential child rapist, someone that's engaging in child pornography and likely has motives to rape a child, and is currently going to prison. This guy's probably a decent guy, unlike me, right? But I'm not a feminist. I'm an anti-feminist. But that makes me a piece of shit, right? So, speaking of feminism and equality, we have something from the Pentagon, and I'm not sure if they've actually followed up on this since the 26th when this was reported, but there's now actually a move within the Pentagon because they're looking for recruits, and they want to have women in the United States sign up for the draft. And so I've heard arguments for why this should not happen, and I actually hear many, many, many arguments from both conservatives and feminists for why this shouldn't happen. Feminists, it's an obvious reason. I actually heard some in favor from feminists that this should happen, but I can say that I am actually in favor of women signing up for the draft and having to. I think that generally, and I have yet to hear an actual persuasive argument against this, I think that there should be mandatory military service in the United States. I think it shouldn't stop at the draft. I think there should be mandatory military service for all men and women in the United States. Because I think, unfortunately, because of the bourgeois society that we live in, we're having some major issues with being a fat shit tub of lard, useless parasite in our society. We have too many people like that in our society. And I don't even think that's debatable. My solution to that is mandatory military service. We need to inspire people to be more patriotic. We need to inspire people to be more disciplined in their lifestyle. We need people to take personal responsibility for being an otherwise worthless piece of shit. We need more people to be like me, in essence. Gainfully employed, clean cut. I've never done any drugs. I've had more than one opportunity and never done any drugs, haven't even smoked weed. Despite my issues in life, I am a fully functional human being. And I am an active person in contributing to our society in many ways, more than just simple taxation and voting. I help bring people to justice. So that is what I give in society. And I think that we need more people that are doing just that. It doesn't have to be in the exact same way that I do, but we need more people that that put value in civic contribution, in social contribution. We need more people actually contributing to our society. We have too many fucking worthless parasites. This is a major issue in the United States. So for anyone that's against this, especially if you're a conservative, you need to understand that we need more people with the understanding that contributing to our society, contributing to the betterment of our society is heavily important in one's lifetime. It isn't just sufficient enough to pay your taxes and occasionally fucking vote. That's not good enough. If we want to live in a functional society, we need everyone on board in making it a functional society. So I think that libertarianism is a very wonderful fucking utopian fantasy. And liberalism, in many ways, is great. But the issue is that with liberalism, this fits well within it, I think. I think mandatory military service can be something that is defended as someone who is a liberal, despite it not being voluntary. It's involuntary. But the issue is that it is serving something that is necessary to live in a functional society, and we are currently seeing our society in a clear decline. We have major issues, especially with political polarization among other issues as well. We need more people with a basic understanding of why contributing to our society is important and necessary. And this is my answer to it. It's not a perfect answer, but this is what I have. If you have an answer instead of what I'm giving you, please provide it, and I'll consider it. If you have an argument against mandatory military service, please, or even just a distinction from that, something that is like it but a bit different, provide it, and I'll consider it. But I'm looking for a means by which to keep the fabric of our society strong, rather than continuously eroding to the point where it completely just falls apart. I think everyone, if you want to be realistic in our outlook in the future of our society, you need to be considering shit like this, because we're not doing so well right now. So I had a few people send me this shit way back when it made news, and even recently, because apparently she just stepped away. But this Equifax was a firm, and I can't remember exactly what they do. It might be data management. But one of the issues with Equifax, which is a large organization that many other companies had links to and stored information on, or at least this company had the access to their information, there was a major leak from Equifax, and it was like 100, 200 million Americans had their information leaked. And so basically it's now in the hands of effectively criminals. And the person rather, in charge of managing the data security and just security overall at this corporation, Equifax, was this woman by the name of Susan Maldron. Susan Maldron is essentially someone that appears to be a diversity hire. Her degree is not in anything that actually has anything to do with security. It has nothing to do with cybersecurity, programming, computer, anything to do with computers, anything to do with business, anything to do with even security, which there are degrees in. There are degrees in security strategies and stuff. Depends on where you go. But she was a music major. And that's fine. It's fine to have a degree in music, in my opinion, but not if you want to be the chief security officer of a major corporation in the United States. So one of the things that has come of this in the news is not only the people's outrage of the fact that now they have all their data on the line and they have their data stolen by criminals, but that it may have been under the oversight of a diversity hire. A lot of people don't seem to understand that, and they just kind of beg the question of, well, why was this completely incompetent white woman running security for this major firm? And it doesn't go anywhere past that. They don't really understand what it means to actually be a diversity hire. And the fact that, the video that I did, Fuck White Women, where I rant about the fact that there are so many white women that just have a job, and they, what they even do is a question to the company itself. Well, in this case, it appears to be the same thing. You have a company where data management is extremely important, and security and securing that information is extremely important. and they had some fucking incompetent woman running it. And she very quietly resigned. The issue is that there were interviews with her online. There were YouTube videos that featured her. There was a podcast that she was on. Her LinkedIn page was public, and there's other things as well. I think there's articles as well. And very coincidentally, all that information is now gone. She is now gone from the company. That information is now gone off. Like the YouTube videos are gone, the podcast is gone, the articles are gone. Information about this woman is now disappearing from the internet. And this is one of the things where no one is like, well, I don't. You could either say that no one is really held account in the corporate in corporate America, or you could say if it's a woman, she's not going to be held to account. This is another executive woman that I can point to who is fucking incompetent. This seems to be kind of a trend in tech, especially, that there's a lot of white women that are fucking incompetent that go away, and then there is at least one particular black female. I believe she worked at Apple, who appeared to be very competent and very clear-minded and eloquent in her speech and articulate. And she went away for a different reason, because she was a bit too competent. So it appears to be a problem with, we got to get the black women out of here when they're too competent, but we got to hire incompetent white women to fill a role on our fucking board of directors where she does jack shit. And because of her and because of her incompetence, we now have a data leak of hundreds of millions of fucking Americans. So my video stands up, even though I lost it's somewhere around 30 at this point. I lost around 30 subscribers because of that video. Some people really didn't like it. But hey, what can I say? This is the kind of shit I'm talking about. It happens. It's real, kind of undeniable. You want to give me an article that says otherwise, feel free. Maybe, we got some guys with white girlfriends who are like, I don't like this, Louis. I don't like you talking shit about my girl. It's like, no, unless your girl's, sitting on the board of directors of some corporation that she's running into the ground, then, that I'm not talking about her, obviously. So relax a little bit. Anyways, let's move from bad news to excellent news. So, kind, genius, decent man George Soros, philanthropist, don't forget about that, philanthropist giant George Soros, had decided that he's going to pump $18 billion into a group called Open Society Foundations. Now, I've actually heard of the Open Society Foundations before, and it appears to be like a crazy, lunatic, globalist activist group. And so when people say that George Soros is this lunatic, globalist, quote-unquote, liberal activist pouring money into politics to basically pollute the whole world and basically give voice to the most utopian dog shit ever, then it's hard to say that that's not true when you got this fucking cocksucker donating $18 billion of his own money into one of his own organizations that is just an activist group. I mean, that's the best way I can put it. Saying that it's a philanthropic organization is bullshit. This is a fucking political group. All right. And it's going to be pouring money into American politics and European politics. And it's probably going to be terrible. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more socialists, a lot more globalists, a lot more, ridiculous fucking lunatic progressives that are going to get a lot of money from this organization. And it's not a good thing, because I'm a nationalist, and I say that both in that, great respect and love of country, but also that I am not in favor of merging nations like the EU or any of that shit. I'm in favor of nation states. I'm not in favor of a federal I'm not even sure what you'd call it, but federal union, whatever, of different states that join together that have like a greater Congress or fucking whatever. Not in favor of any of that shit. I'm in favor of nation states. And by the way, that helps the United States. By the way, just letting anyone know, anyone that's out there that's like, oh man, I'm a fucking nationalist. I care about the United States, but I love the EU. It's like, okay, well, you're a fucking retard then. You're a fucking retard because it's actively competing against the United States in the world. And I'm not gonna go off on a rant about that, but yeah, anyone who's a nationalist, you should be against this because this is not going to help you. So yeah, this is just generally bad news. But I just thought I would mention it because it's scary. Because I mean, I'm sure fucking Alex Jones was just just frothing at the mouth when he read this story. So speaking of incompetent white women, I'm sorry. What I meant to say is that white women are not diversity hires. White women are never wholly incompetent diversity hires put in a position to fill that position and are otherwise fucking worthless. Are just insanely fucking incompetent. That's not what Susan Wojcicki is. She is very fucking competent, which is why she has allowed all of the material that has been on YouTube to be monetized and has now created a second apocalypse where you, I, and every one of our favorite creators are being fucked thanks to her stupid fucking incompetent ass. But yes, she did some fucking interview with some regressive dickhead cunt and talked about YouTube and being fucking worthless and about women in tech. As always, we need more fucking diversity hires for white women in tech because they can't actually get a job otherwise. We have to create and invent positions for them to fill because they're fucking worthless. Susan Wojcicki, if she wasn't given a diversity chair, would be a stay-at-home mom. Or she would be, I don't know, at a cash register at a fucking Walgreens or a Rite Aid. That's who Susan Wojcicki is. She is fucking stupid. She is way over her fucking head in this position. She is not competent. And that's something I have no respect for. You know, I am more than willing, like, for example, I'm not going to talk about it here, but Byron Brown, who's the mayor of Buffalo, was just reelected overwhelmingly. And I believe I actually said it in a previous stream that he is very competent. So even if you want to say that I don't like his politics about bringing in quote-unquote migrants and, you know, the issues with Islam in Buffalo and the fact that he's not talking about it and his very tacit ties to corruption, but nothing really tying him to corruption, you know, the criticisms you could make of Byron Brown are there, but you can't say that he's incompetent. He is competent in being the mayor of Buffalo. Susan Wojcicki, and so I have respect for him, okay? Susan Wojcicki I have no respect for because she is fucking incompetent. This year in YouTube, I think it's been one of the worst years for YouTube ever. So in its history as a company, this has been one of the worst years. And guess who's been running this fucking company into the ground? You guessed it, this fucking stupid, incompetent white woman who is a fucking diversity hire from Google. She should be gone. She is fucking it's well past the point that she is overstayed in this position. She should be gone tomorrow. I am shocked that she is not gone yet. I'm shocked that Google has not gotten rid of her. But again, it's the fact that she's a fucking white woman. I'm pretty sure that's the real thing that's saving her at this point. And I'm not going to go through this fucking article. It's just James Damore's a fucking sexist. Blah, 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 blah. By the way, I just ran our company into the ground for the second time this fucking year. So let's... no, we'll save that. We'll just move to this story. So the Los Angeles Times wrote this very, very long and thorough article on Anaheim, which I believe is in California. Yes, it's Disneyland in California. So Disney, the Disney Corporation, has a theme park in Anaheim, California. And they basically run the fucking city. If you've seen True Detective, the second season of that whatever it was called, Levici or whatever it was called, California. That's basically this. Anaheim is basically a city or a town maybe where it's pretty much just the Disney Corporation that runs everything. Now, they wrote this story, and it's basically talking about the fact of money in politics, where the people that run the city of Anaheim are toadies for the Disney Corporation. This is extremely easy to understand unless you're Ben Shapiro, where you say that effectively that Disney has free speech their way into running the city. Not that they really run the city, because people still vote, but they have free speech the point where they do run the city effectively. And this is a very, very long article about just that. This is a very long and thorough article talking about the fact that even among the people that are in the city, that run the city, they admit to this, that Disney effectively runs the entire goddamn city, and the city is completely fucking dependent. And this is one of multiple articles by the LA Times about this. They run the fucking city. Now, I'm not sure what the LA Times is doing this for. This is actual journalism. I'm not really sure why they're doing this, because there were consequences to this, or there were consequences to some extent. I'm not sure why the LA Times are actually doing journalism. I'm actually surprised by that. Maybe they're looking for some diversity hires at Disney, or some diversity hires at the LA Times, or some kind of kickback. So I'm not really sure why they did this, but this is actual journalism. And if you want to, this will be linked and you can go read the whole fucking thing, but I just boiled it down. We're not going to go through it. They own the fucking city. All right? This is fucking Back to the Future in Hilldale, where fucking Biff owns the fucking city. That's what this really is. And so what happened is that Disney said, okay, LA Times, if you're going to do that to us, then we're going to blacklist you. We are not going to ever do any kind of interviews with you. We're not going to advertise with you. We're going to have no connections with you ever again. That's what Disney did in response to this article. Up until the different other outlets acted as a class, so all the different journalists, quote unquote, and the outlets acted as a class, and they basically spurred out on Twitter, and they basically said, well, we're going to write all kinds of bad and slanderous articles about you, Disney, if you don't fucking back down. So if you don't back down from blacklisting the LA Times, then we're going to fuck you up and you get out of here. We're going to spam you with negative articles and negative publicity, and we're going to talk a ton of shit about you. And that happened within a day. It happened within a day where the story came out, they blacklisted them, and then within that day, there was a huge backlash by all the verified journalists on Twitter, and then Disney was like, okay, we give up. We're not going to blacklist the LA Times. So, yeah, so the journo class acted as one, as they always do, and they actually got Disney, they pressured Disney to not blacklist the LA Times for writing this actual decent story, this actual journalism. Whether you want to say that everything's accurate here is up to you. I'm not going to verify it because I don't care enough to do so. But yeah, they managed to get this accomplished. And you can take away from this a positive story, a negative story. I think journalists are scum. And I don't trust any of them. Yes, all journalists, they're all scumbags. So, unfortunately, even when they do good things, like trying to do real journalism, breaking stories and making stories and talking to people and actually putting on their shoes and actually pounding pavement and talking to people and doing what they're supposed to do, even then, Daniel Miller is probably an unethical scumbag at any other point in his life. So, fuck him. And also, fuck Disney. Disney is a shit corporation that does nothing at this point but virtue signal. So, in this this is basically villains fighting villains, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I just thought I'd talk about it because it was worth talking about. If you want to go read this shit, I'll link it, and you can go read it for yourself. It is interesting, but unfortunately, prejudice or my bigotry towards these two types of people, which is massive corporations that just virtue signal constantly and support activist groups that I'm directly opposed to ideologically, and fucking journos, so they're both scum. So let's move on to this list. And I mentioned this list in a recent commentary where I talk about the sexual allegations made by... Oh, there's apparently been another one. Holy shit, the fucking head of Pixar and Walt Disney Animation just went down? What happened? Oh, yeah, he just went on a six-month sabbatical. What happened? Sexual harassment, including grabbing, unwanted kissing, making comments about physical attributes. So there's been another scalp. Another scalp for the feminists. They got another one. I think it should be 35 now, right? So we just had one on the 21st. There was... so let's go down this list. So we have head of Pixar at a virtue signaling corporation, Disney. We have Charlie Rose, who is a leftist or a liberal, whatever. We have a New York Times writer. We have Al Franken, a senator. We have a guy at Tesla and SpaceX. We have editor at DC Comics, who's a fucking progressive. We have progressive executive producer for Arrow, Supergirl, and The Flash, which is DC. We have Louis C.K., comedian, who's a progressive. We have Roy Moore, who is a very conservative guy. But with him, I don't know what to think. I really don't. Some guy with an Italian name, except for his first. Jeffrey Tombor, who is very progressive. Very fucking progressive, this guy right here. And he went down. Let's see here. Was he? No, I can't remember him. I think this guy might be one, but I can't remember. I think this is a Republican. Brett Ratner, he's a progressive. Can't remember. Andy Dick, I can't really remember his politics. He's kind of a weirdo anyways. Head of NPR, former New York Times editor, progressive. We have president and publisher of the New Republic, very fucking progressive. Very fucking progressive. And he's gone. Kevin Spacey, who I believe is leans left or is progressive, he really went down. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. NBC and MSNBC contributor. He's Mark Halpern. He's actually he's like corporate left, I would say. Director of CBS's Diversity Showcase. Oh, I'm sure he's a fucking far-right conservative, him. Again, former editor of The New Republic. Very fucking progressive. This guy has been a well-known weirdo. Terry Richardson. I've known him. Very fucking weirdo. Him, I can't remember. Him, doesn't matter. Oh, editorial director of Vox Media. Very fucking progressive. And also a bit corporate left, but just generally very progressive. Tech blogger. He's probably progressive. Head of Amazon Studios. That's another big one. Him, I don't know. Defy Media. Very fucking progressive. I'm pretty sure. That's that owns like a whole bunch of different like journal outlets. So I'm pretty sure this guy's progressive. And Harvey Weinstein, who has been a longtime Democratic contributor. So on this list, and this is not a full list, by the way, but on this list, this is very heavily, not all, not exclusive, but very heavy, progressive, left-leaning, and corporate left. And what you don't see are a lot of actual liberals on this. Maybe it includes one or two. It's got a couple conservatives, so maybe there's an actual liberal on here. But you got a lot of journos. You got a lot of executives. You got a lot of people involved in tech. You know, you got a comedian at least, and people in entertainment. So, who are generally, and people in entertainment are generally pretty left-leaning. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard, even Bruce Willis, who is a conservative, when he talks about his conservatism, the points that I've heard him make, they're pretty basic bitch conservative points. So Hollywood conservatives are typically not very conservative. Obviously, you got some lunatics ones like Mel Gibson, and others, ranting about Jews and such. But for the most part, Hollywood conservatives are kind of basic bitch conservatives. They're typically not very far right. And that's a good thing. I don't necessarily want very far right conservatives. I'll take a basic bitch conservative, as I would a basic bitch liberal or a leftist. They're a lot more palatable in that way. But progressives, I would say, are not very basic. They're not approachable. They're not someone you can argue with and convince. They're there to basically push their totalitarian viewpoint on you. And as many go down as need be, that's great. That's great for me, man. That's all pluses. That's all, score on the board for me. That's nothing but great, because fuck them. Anytime that they're out there talking to people, telling them how I'm a fucking misogynist, as they finger bang a girl without her consent, that's nothing but golden for me. Because what it does is that it takes the epithet or the derogatory term of misogynist, sexist, whatever that these people label us as, and it makes it far less credible. Because what I have never done is sexually harassed a girl. I've never forced myself onto a girl. I've never, used disgusting pickup artist techniques like try to pressure a girl into sex with weirdo techniques like having her come up to my hotel room and other weird shit. All the different shit that these people have done. And I'll link this, and you can feel free to go read all the accusations against these guys. And several of them are probably pretty genuine. Some of them are probably bullshit. But some of them appear to be very genuine. And I've never had to do any of these things. Or I've never done any of these things. I never had any of these accusations against me. And I'm an anti-feminist. So I think that in the future, when anyone says, like, oh, this person said they're an anti-feminist, it's like, yeah, well, how many feminists have fucking finger-banged a girl without her consent? How many male feminists have pushed a woman against a wall and forced themselves on her? How many male feminists have used pickup artist techniques to try to coerce or neg a girl into fucking them? How many male feminists have gone to jail for child rape or child porn or rape or molestation or whatever? How many male feminists need to go down, need to pull a gun and shoot a male feminist or a feminist or a woman before we actually come to the agreement that just because you are a male feminist doesn't mean that you are a decent person, and chances are you're actually probably an unethical scumbag that does shit that borders on criminal behavior. Whereas if you're like me and you actually do have respect for women, you actually see women as equals to yourself, that you would never do any of these things to another person because you never want them done to you, and you actually see women as people. Even when you do a video that says fuck white women, I still see women as my equal. The problem is that they're held to different standards, and that unfortunately, when I say that I'm not a feminist and that I'm an anti-feminist, I'm labeled as something I'm not, when in fact the person standing next to them who's like, yeah, you tell him, girl, you go, girl, you tell this misogynist what's what, when that guy's probably going to pin you to the wall and finger bang you without your consent in a couple days. Why don't you think about that? So yeah, bring it up when you have the chance, because I'm going to in the future, because I think it's funny. I think it's funny to watch these people go down when they're all fucking... It's like half these people work for the same few outlets. NPR and the New Republic, the New York Times, like MSNBC, NBC, like this is a joke. Defy Media, Vox, these are all left-wing. These are all fucking left-wing. So just keep it in mind. But let's be clear, there are some conservatives on here. So for anyone that's right-wing or conservative listening to this, don't get too much of a big head. There are some conservatives on here. But my point is that, I don't see a lot of conservatives trying to label anti-feminists as fucking misogynists, okay? Typically not what happens. And while we're talking about this, we're going to move to this story. So I'm not sure how many of you know who Jordan Sheridan is. Jordan Sheridan was someone that was hired on by the Young Turks way back when they had a fundraiser to hire a bunch of journalists that would go out and actually meet people and actually do journalism. Jordan Sheridan was one of the ones that was hired early on who I actually liked. I liked Jordan Sheridan when he was first hired on at TYT. Not a perfect guy, but he was actually, making some moves, doing some things. And they actually hired another guy that I follow on Twitter. Now that I think of it, I haven't actually seen anything by him in quite a while. Let me see if I can find his name, because he's still in my good graces, although I haven't seen anything from him in a while. Let me see if I can find him on my Twitter. Hopefully I didn't unfollow him. Michael Tracy. Michael Tracy is currently still at TYT, and he's been one of the only people that I've seen really push back on fucking jank before and not pull punches. So Michael Tracy's actually still in my good graces, even though he has some missteps. Jordan Sheridan's one of the bad ones. He went into TYT. He didn't survive it. He conformed. You know what I mean? Like, he went in with his own beliefs. He went in with his own mindset. He went in with his own language, and he conformed. He adopted the language, the beliefs, the mindset of jank. And that's what happens. You're pressured to join the culture of that organization, and he did. And it didn't help him. Made him worse. And unfortunately, he became kind of an unethical scumbag. And I actually covered him. For those of you who haven't seen it, I did a video where I talked about him. And the video was called Progressive Pipelines. You can go Google search that if you want to on my channel. It's where he went to the one pipeline out in the Midwest, I think. I can't remember the name of it. But he went out there and he met with the protesters, and he just did a puff piece for them. He did a propaganda piece. He accused the cops of being scum. And it was ridiculous. And he tried to talk to people about, locals, about the pipeline. And the locals actually made a lot of fucking sense, and he labeled them as basically racist. And that is not an ethical thing to do as a journalist. You don't just label people that are saying, by the way, I'm not a racist, and here's what I think, and they give 5 or 6 points that have nothing to do with fucking race. And they're actually genuine points that you have to argue against, but then you just label them as racist. Jordan Sheridan is not ethical. I have many problems with him. But what happened to him, TYT, was that he was accused. He was accused of being a fucking harasser. And what happened is that Huffington Post actually covered 2 articles. So the Huffington Post posted 2 articles accusing Jordan Sheridan of basically harassing women, forcing himself on women. I forget exactly what it was, but he basically was in a non-consensual relationship with at least 2 women, I think it was. He forced himself on 2 women to whatever degree. And immediately after they posted those stories, they went viral, and then they immediately took them down because they were completely fucking fabricated. These were completely false, as far as I can see. These were bullshit stories that were made up about Jordan. They were not true. They were fabricated. And what TYT did is they said, all right, we got this loyal guy. We have this guy that lies for us. We have this insanely progressive guy who's just kind of a hack, who has really lost a lot of his character and a lot of his ethics after he joined our organization. Fuck you. You're fired, Jordan. So they fired him. They fired him without cause, and now I believe he's potentially considering suing them because they didn't hesitate in firing him after these stories came out. It was, they published and boom, he was gone. And I haven't heard anything to ever say that this guy is kind of a harasser. Nothing. And I've seen people that know him that defend him, and I have no reason to think that he is a harasser. And I have to think that after Huffington Post took down the stories they published on him, that it's because they were completely and utterly fabricated, that none of it what's said about him is true. But fuck you, Jordan. You get in bed with scumbags like the Young Turks, like Cenk Uygur, this is what you're going to get. Because they have the Anita Sarkeesian position of listen and believe. That is the position that all progressives, all feminists must walk in lockstep with. Listen and believe. Doesn't matter if they made up stories about you, fucking Jordan. You have to listen and believe them. You don't want to, and it's convenient because now it's you, but you got fired anyways. Aw, you should probably sue your former employers. Welcome to progressivism, Jordan Sheridan, you fucking moron. Welcome to it. This should have been obvious. You should have seen this shit coming. This is what happens when you accept these ideological points. Eventually, they will hang you with them. You are a white male, Jordan Sheridan. You are on the low. You're in the lowest low of the totem pole. On the progressive stack hierarchy, you're on the lowest fucking end of the stack. Should have known this was coming. So good luck wherever the fuck you can find a job. Now that you're out, good luck suing your fucking former employer. But I just thought this was worth talking about because I read it and I was like, wow, man, I can't believe it. TOIT actually fucking fired somebody. And it was a guy that was like, this guy was a foot soldier, man. He was loyal. He didn't criticize shit. He occasionally he would push back on Jank when Jank would go crazy, but he was a fucking soldier, man. He was loyal. But oh well. Oh well, Jordan. Sucks for you, brother. Welcome to progressivism. Maybe you realize now is the time to get out. Because there's a reason to do so. So this is the article that I don't know if I want to read in its entirety. But when people say, and I've had a couple of people say to me, that there is no such thing as the regressive right. The regressive right does not exist. And I got to tell you that you're wrong. You're wrong. The regressive right does exist. And as far as I can see it, it's in essence like having, imagine the conservative base, or not the base, but the punditry. So you have pundits, you have commentators, you have hosts, you have all these people that write articles that see eye to eye on many different issues that are generally, you can generally call the conservative punditry. So on YouTube, you can have the liberal punditry or the quote-unquote skeptic community where you can see different people with like interests and like beliefs and that sort of thing and hang out and all the rest and write for the same sources and, you know, speak with one another. That exists in conservatism. That exists in leftist politics. So let me just get to the point. Imagine conservative pundits as a mob. So you have a big group of people. Now, the regressive right or the retrograde right are in the back of the mob. The reason they're in the back of the mob is they don't want to stand out. They don't want to stand out. They want to be in the back so they can see what everybody else is doing and they don't get noticed because everyone's looking forward. They got their own things going on. They're talking to one another. They're talking about their own shit. The retrograde right's in the back of the mob. They're hiding back there on intentionally and on purpose. So this is what happens when somebody who's part of the retrograde right moves up to the front and gives an opinion. And then everyone can see what they actually think. The retrograde right does exist, and it is waiting for the opportunity to move to the front and dictate to the rest of the conservative movement what it is that they believe. The retrograde right is very starkly similar to the regressive left. They are starkly fucking similar in that they believe the same fucking things. They believe the same concepts. They just argue from two different perspectives. It's the perspective of a prudish right-wing tubby faggot and a left-wing beta faggot. Like, it's the same kind of person. It's the same kind of collectivist. It's the same kind of person with a attitude, in a liberal authoritarian attitude, with a potentially totalitarian mindset that is looking for the potential to come up to the top, to the front of the mob and dictate to the rest what they believe. On the right, this is going to become an increasingly larger problem. I have not gotten to the video that I would like to do on it because I've just been doing too much other things. But this very much is something that's going to happen eventually on the right. If the right somehow takes over culture in the way that the left has right now, these people are going to come out of the fucking woodwork. They're going to come out of the woodwork, and they're going to come out with a vengeance like you've never seen them before, because they are going to be empowered like never before, because they are going to believe that they're going to have their one and only opportunity to change society. This is like that guy, that communist, that Marxist guy who is like Jeremy Corbyn's something or other. He does something for Jeremy Corbyn. He's like an economist or something like that for Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. He gave a speech in front of a bunch of different communists, and he said, we've been waiting for this for our entire lives. This is our one and only fucking opportunity to seize power. Now, we have to do this. We're about to take power. We need to come out with a vengeance. And the guy's a communist. That's these people. They're waiting for their opportunity to seize power. They've been waiting for it for so long. And once conservatives, if they have power, they will fucking come out of the woodwork. And I think, unfortunately, with conservatives, they're going to get fucking blindsided. They won't know what's coming, and they will be powerless to stop them. Because, unfortunately, for conservatives, they don't really seem to be in the same position as the left, where there isn't the checks and balances that they pretend exist. They pretend that, oh no, we're conservatives, we're principled, we're not going to do this kind of shit. We're so much above you guys on the left. We're so above you all. You're all stupid and emotional. We're all fucking wonks and geniuses and just, you know, serious economists and academics and professionals. We're so serious. You're the emotion-based ones. You're the idiots and soft sciences. I'm telling you, these people are going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to hit those conservatives, and those conservatives are going to roll over like a bunch of pins in a bowling alley. All right? They're going to get leveled. And I'm warning you conservatives now. These people are as bad as the regressive left, and they are going to fuck your movement. So be fucking ready. Be fucking ready for these people to show up. All right? I'm saying this from a position of, one, I don't want to see. I have my own interest in this, in that I don't want these people to come to power because they will affect me. And two, I also don't want them to completely pollute and destroy the conservative movement, because there are aspects of the conservative movement, in my opinion, that are absolutely legitimate, that exist for a reason and should exist. And what I don't want to see is for these people to come in and fuck it all up, to make the right in its entirety exactly like the left in that it's fucking worthless. So understand that this is for my own interests, and it's also in selfless interest, that I don't want to see these people fuck the conservative movement, even if I don't agree with them entirely. So just be ready, those of you that are conservative that listen to me. Be ready, man. These fucking people are coming. So we're going to read this fucking article, all right? That's how fucking bad it is. It is worth reading, all right? All right. So the article is called, Want Sexual Misconduct by Men to Stop? Start by cracking down on boys' easy access to internet porn. In just the past few weeks, the news has been filled with reports of alleged sexual misconduct by well-known men. Senator Al Franken, the Democrat from Minnesota, Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore of Alabama, comedian Louis C.K., actors Kevin Spacey, Sylvester Stallone, he's one I forgot about, journalist Mark Halperin, he's the NBC guy, Michael Orgus, I forget that guy, filmmaker Harvey Weinstein, and many more earlier this year, long before. Add this to all the men we've never heard of who engage in sexual harassment and assault every day around our country. So already we have a collective statement. This is a collectivist argument right here. Add this to the men who we've never heard of who engage in sexual harassment and assault every day around our country. Key word, men. There are women that engage in sexual harassment and assault every day around our country, but specifically you make it men. And that's because this is an ideological argument. And just be clear, okay? Let's just put a pin in that. Go up to the top. Jared Brock is conservative. This is on fucking Fox News. I'm going to blow this up, all right? Ruin. Fox News. Fox News. This is, and I know, I mean, my hope is that if there's any conservatives in this chat, they don't go, oh, that's a left-wing outlet. Obvious left-wing outlet. Obvious left-wing. They're all left-wing. Everyone's left-wing. You know, I go on fucking Stormfront, and that's a real fucking right-wing outlet. But, you know, everything else is fucking left-wing. Fox News is conservative. It doesn't mean that they're all the conservatives you want them to be, but they are fucking conservative. They will occasionally make left-wing arguments or globalist arguments or stupid fucking arguments, but Fox News is conservative. Okay. They have some kind of shit going on with this, so it's slow. I'm like barely able to just scroll down because of this shit. So much garbage loading in the background. Okay. Okay. Okay, this thing will stop fucking up. Why are so many men doing so many bad things to girls and women and sometimes to boys and men? There are many reasons that they vary from they vary from individual to individual, but many times sexual misconduct by men grows out of their view formed early in life that women are sex objects whose primary function is to give men pleasure. So let's stop. Who the fuck does that sound like? Who the fuck would say that men form views of women that they are sex objects whose primary function is to give men pleasure? Again, Fox News, written by a conservative. Who does this fucking sound like? Continuing on. And we're going to have a bombshell coming up. Okay, we got a bombshell coming up. As we try to mend the broken lives of victims of sexual assaults, we have a responsibility as a society to do something to stop the boys of today from growing up to engage in sexual misconduct tomorrow. Well, the parents could try to do that, but at the same time, I don't understand how you're going to predict fucking criminal behavior. I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know. Should we propagandize our boys into not being sexual harassers and criminals? It sounds like something we should do, apparently. Not from a feminist perspective, but from a conservative perspective. The warped male view that dehumanizes women often starts early in life. I'm glad you're telling me this, Pope of conservatism. One contributing factor: every day, tens of millions of boys and young men see women objectified and sometimes brutalized on sexually graphic internet videos on pornography sites. Viewing pornography on a regular basis warps the mind and is like being addicted to a drug, with ever stronger doses needed to spark the desired effect. Pope of conservatism telling us this. And eventually, some boys and men want to move from the virtual world to the real world, acting against real girls and women instead of simply viewing fantasy sex videos. Again, not a feminist saying this shit. And I'm not sure if he says the word. I'm not sure if he says the word objectification. Somewhere he says, I think he just flat out says objectification. But I'll just take this time to go back. Sorry for the pausing. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Dude, what is wrong with this? Hold on. Let me refresh this. It's just wigging out. It's like it's got this fucking video here that it wants to play. To stop it. Okay. Get out of here. Okay, that's better. Let's see. Contributing factor. God damn it. Okay, so here it is. Objectified. So what we're talking in this and what he has cited is objectification. So I'm sure that this is going to give people that are conservative in the chat some cause to say, oh, he's a fucking leftist. He's a fucking leftist. So we're going to go to a term that I know in Marxism, a concept called reification. And it was developed by I think it was a Hungarian Marxist, George Lucas, right here. I read his material. So reification in Marxism. Let's scroll in real close and let's look for a certain word. Oh, look. Look at this word. Objectification. Oh. It's almost like that a conservative, in the same way a feminist would, is citing Marxist concepts to make their argument. It's almost like they're very similar. Very similar. It's almost like the retrograde right is real. It's almost like it's real because they cite the same fucking concepts as the fucking regressive left. Anyways, last year my wife and I made a documentary about pornography. We showed its appearance in 270 cities across the continent, and the response was the same everywhere. My son is dealing with this. Oh, I'm just addicted to beating off, man. I'm just addicted to it. I can't stop jerking off, man. The first step in our society needs to take is to prevent underage exposure to pornography. That's right. That's right. We ban it. Ban it all. Ban it all. God damn it right now. Ban all the pornography. That's what it means to be a principled conservative. Ban it all. Where was I? The first step is blah, blah. Currently, about 90% of boys are exposed to pornography before the age of 18. I was too. I'm a victim. I can't stop. Personal responsibility be damned. I'm a conservative. I can't stop beating off. Please help me. Somebody help me. We are allowing their minds to be poisoned. At home, parents can install anti-porn filters like Kids Wi-Fi, which says on its website that does it actually do it? Have you done any research? That filters, monitors, and controls all your kids' online behaviors. That's right. That's what it means to keep the government out, is that you become a totalitarian helicopter parent who makes sure that your 17-year-old isn't looking at fucking porn. You install it on all your online devices, from tablets to computers to game consoles, on everything. Install it on everything, so they can't ever see a fucking tit, ever, or a dick. Nothing. They can never see anything. We stick them in a fucking what is it? I was about to say cathedral. That's not right. A confessional, and we beat them. They look at those fucking tits. But isn't enough? Never. What happens when the kids go to school? They look at porn. That's what they do at school. What happens when they own a cell phone? They're looking at porn. What happens when they have a Wi-Fi connection at a library or a burger joint or a Tim Hortons or their neighbor's house? Porn. They're sitting at Burger King. I can't stop beating off. Oh, my God. To give a child a cell phone and expect him not to watch porn is like stuffing a pack of cigarettes in a kid's pocket and saying smoking is bad for you. That's right. If you jerk off, you're going to get cancer. But taking away a cell phone won't do the trick, because there'll always be another kid with another cell phone. That's right. That's fucking right. What we need to do is hold the porn companies accountable. That's right. We need government regulation right now. Right now, we need to regulate the porn companies. That's the conservative way to fix something. We fucking regulate the shit out of it. Principled conservatism. Right here on Fox News. Child protection groups have long advocated for some meaningful age verification on websites that doesn't exist. Even porn stars told us when we make our documentary that the question on adult websites, are you over 18, click yes or no, simply isn't enough. That's right. We need government regulation right goddamn now. There's nothing to stop a younger teen from lying about his age, or anyone really. Britain is the only country moving forward on conservative age verification. In Canada, Prime Minister Liberal Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party went in the opposite direction. They just give porn to kids. Fucking liberals. By the way, Justin fucking Trudeau's a hella progressive retard. It's incredibly disingenuous to say we believe in protecting a child's innocence while allowing porn companies to freely expose our children to explicit sexual images day after day. Government regulation now. I'm a conservative. Government regulation now. While we must do a better job policing the porn companies using government, we also need to do a better job educating and raising resilient, responsible, and indoctrinated boys who think before they act. If you beat off, we're going to beat you using the force of the government. We're going to tax you, and we're going to use those taxes that we stole from you to regulate your porn. We're conservatives. This is a challenge because as a result of the internet, we're raising a generation of boys who are addicted to profoundly hardcore pornography. Like hentai, into the hardcore fucking pornography of hentai. While their ability to view fantasies at the touch of an app, that's right, ban them all, regulate it all out of business. More than a third of boys have seen sexual bondage online. Now, I'm one of them. And over half of those boys believe it's a realistic depiction of sex. Well, those fucking boys are retarded. Unless they're into fucking bondage. Or, I mean, but what if it doesn't even involve a fucking boy? What if it's fucking lesbian, femdom? Then what? What then, you fucking conservatives? So we really shouldn't be surprised that these boys take acts offline when they start dating or attend a drunken frat party. That's right. We need to teach our boys that women are deserving of their respect as equals. Respect women! You're not a true conservative if you don't respect women as equals. By the way, I do, and I've never. I view a decent amount of porn. I play visual novels that are typically H games. Not all, but are typically H games, which is glorified porn. And I've yet to fucking do anything to a woman where it wasn't purely consensual. Not once. Not once in my lifetime have I been engaged with a woman in any kind of intimate action where it wasn't completely and utterly and unquestionably fucking consensual. Yet I can't stop fucking watching the porn. That makes me want to go out and just beat women. This is a realistic depiction of sex. I'm gonna beat this woman. Oh, God. Anyways, and we need to teach them that civilized society imposes boundaries on all of us. That's right. This is what it means to be conservative. It still takes a global village, really, nigga, to raise a child. Teachers will need their sex education curriculums to include a unit on pornography. Wow. I mean, we need more sex education to make sure that it's not just abstinence only, that we teach about the addiction of pornography. If you ever watch it, if you ever watch some ecchi content, you're going to be addicted to it. I can't stop watching depictions of fictional Japanese characters. I can't stop. And then I just go out and just beat those fucking... I flew all the way to Japan just to beat a Japanese woman to make it authentic. Oh, this is what it means to be fucking conservative. Anyways, where the fuck was I? Parents will have to start having the talk far earlier than seems intuitive, using brilliant resources like the book Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, Porn-Proofing Today's Young Kids. Oh, here we go. And the media must simply stop objectifying women. That's right. Regulate the media. Regulate the media. Say it with me. I want everyone in chat right now to say it with me. Say it in chat with me as true conservatives. This is a true conservative stream. We need to. I've had a bunch of people drop off since I've started this story, by the way. Too bad. This is what it is. We need to regulate this out of business. Regulate it out of business. We need to stop objectifying, regulate media, stop objectifying women. It's hypocritical to speak in favor of women's rights while earning millions of dollars, demeaning and degrading women and measuring their only worth in their sex appeal. That's right, true conservatism, true conservative talk right now. Until we deal with sexual expectation, addiction, and how boys and men view girls and women, how can we assure sexual misconduct will be substantially reduced in the future? We can't stop men from raping women if we don't ban all porn, if we don't regulate media. True conservative talk. Our task is to go upstream and prevent these sorts of behaviors from becoming destructive habits in the first place, or sexual misconduct making headlines today will continue with future decades to come. True conservative talk. All right, so I lost about fucking 40 viewers in that fucking article, but oh well. Oh well, I don't care. Welcome to the retrograde right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to it. And I'll skip this one for now. So let's go to the future fucking progressive Democratic candidate in the 2020 election, who's going to stand up to fucking racist Donald Trump. It's Andrew Cuomo, Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. Hella progressive. He's like his father. He is such a hella progressive man. And he is the man of the people. And the way you know he's the man of the people is this article from the New York Times, and it was actually covered on this former Gawker media thing. It was actually a decent article by a fucking regressive, stupid Asian bitch who I'll never fuck. I'll never fuck you. Any fucking progressive Asians are excluded from being Asian. Kling Chang, fuck you. I think you're a woman, by the way. I'm not sure. She wrote an article on it that's actually not bad, and it actually shows that he is very much prepping to run in 2020. Like, this is legit. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be the first person that called this, but he is going to fucking try to run. But the issue is that no one likes him but super rich people. No one, like, he has a war chest to run. The only fucking people that like him are super fucking rich people. Super fucking rich. It's like he went months. Just, it's so funny. It's so, like, I forgot where it is. It's somewhere in here. He went months without a single donation that was like under $1,000. It was that fucking ridiculous. I forget where it was. Yeah, but his average donation is like $5,000, which is, it has to be one of the highest in the entire country for campaign fundraising. It has to be one of the highest. It is fucking like Hillary. Okay, so here's the thing. Hillary Clinton had small donations. She did have people on the ground that liked her, that did support her. Hillary Clinton did have small donations. Bernie Sanders completely decimated her in that way. And even Trump did. Trump had a lot of small donations as well. But Andrew Cuomo is not fucking capable of that. Yeah, 99%. Here it is. Since the beginning of 2015, Mr. Cuomo has raised over 99% of his campaign money from donations larger than $1,000. 99% of his donations are over $1,000. That is fucking insane. It has to be one of the highest in the country, if not the highest. That is unheard of. That is unheard of. Hillary Clinton came nowhere close to that. Nowhere fucking close. So it is unreal. But this is what I mean. No one fucking likes him. No one in this state fucking likes him. No one supports him. And this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, all the unions in the fucking state, by and large, will come out to his speeches, will show up with signs, will say, yes, we support Cuomo, we endorse Cuomo, we ask, yay, Cuomo, look at us here holding the signs. They don't fucking donate to him. Look at this. The union members do not fucking donate to Andrew Cuomo. They'll show up because they have to, and I've talked about this. You know, my father, who's a union member, has talked to, and I've heard this from plenty of people from the state, that they are forced to show up. They're pressured to show up, and it's simply just for politics. It's like, well, we need somebody to back us, and yet they don't fucking like this guy. They don't support him. Nobody likes him. And, yeah, so I'm not sure if there's much more to talk about this, but he's planning on running in 2020. It's pretty clear. There's several telltale signs in these two articles that says that he plans on running for president. And it's like, if you want to see fucking, like, this is the kind of guy that you actually want to run against Donald Trump, in my opinion, because he has very low name recognition outside of New York, and he is so fucking unlikable that this is the kind of guy that Donald Trump would curb stomp. Donald Trump would curb stomp. He would make the election loss of Hillary Clinton look like fucking nothing. This would be an election where Donald Trump would win the popular vote and win the fucking Electoral College. He would curb stomp Andrew Cuomo. But Andrew Cuomo doesn't care. He just wants to run. He is so desperate for more power. And he's as favored as fucking Chris Christie was in New Jersey. He has that kind of reputation. Andrew Cuomo is fucking hated. And he's also insanely corrupt. And every scandal, every corrupt politician that goes down has direct connections with Cuomo. So he's very likely to be corrupt himself. So yeah, if you want to, you can go read this fucking article. If you're from New York especially, I would go read this. I'll link it in this article as well by this fucking Asian chick. It's worth reading, in my opinion, because if you're like me and you pay attention to New York politics, and especially the fact that Andrew Cuomo, who's the governor of the state, may run, and you want to keep tabs on who's going to run in 2020, this is actually important to view. So I'll link it. So the only other shit that's left is this article. And so what this was, and this was actually very big on Twitter yesterday. So the New York Times published an article where they had some fucking limpdick go down, or go over, I should say, to Ohio to interview this guy. And this guy, what is his name? Tony Hovater, is younger than me. He's 25, and he appears to be potentially alt-right. But when you read this article, and I was actually going to read it, but I don't think I will because it's long and it's kind of meandering. This guy appears to be like a 4chan guy who is really tongue-in-cheek. That, as I read through this, I was reading his shit, and I'm like, because he uses certain code words, and I'm like he uses the phrase normie. He says the phrase normie, and a bunch of other things. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, I actually don't think this guy might be alt-right. I don't think he's actually a fucking quote-unquote Nazi. I think he's just trolling the New York Times. And the New York Times got a ton of shit. A ton of shit. It was like over 200,000 tweets by fucking journos and angry leftists ranting and raving about the fact that they wrote this article. Because they think that this is a puff piece about this guy, who they think is a fucking bona fide Nazi. When I'm not, maybe he is super far right, maybe he is a fucking alt-righter. But from what I read in this, he says some like alt-right talking points, but nothing is nothing I heard from him is something that I would hear from Richard Spencer or Jared Taylor, especially. Like he doesn't really go on to talk about that. He talks about how he used to be an anarcho-capitalist, he used to be a libertarian. You know, he has some bad opinions about Jews or whatever. But he talks about the fact that he used to be a libertarian, that his girlfriend used to be on the left, and that, see, this is one of the things, okay? He's part of a party and or a group, and the party's website is a swastika armband, and instead of saying the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which is Nazi, it says live action role playing. So they replace the Nazi armband, which has the actual Nazi symbol, you know, swastika and NSDAP. Instead it says LARP, which is actually a phrase that you would say live action role playing Nazi, like someone that's pretending to be a fucking Nazi who actually isn't. That's what his fucking group is called. And so it's this and a bunch of other shit where you listen to this and you say to myself, okay, this guy isn't real. This guy isn't really someone on the alt-right. This is bullshit. This is him trolling. This has to be him trolling. This sounds like bullshit. And I don't know if he is or not. Like, I don't know. But he says a bunch of edgy shit. Like, he says that the accepted estimate of 6 million Jews is overblown that died in the Holocaust. This is what he says. He said that while the Nazi leader Heinrich Himmler wanted to exterminate groups like Slavs and homosexuals, Hitler was, quote, was a lot more chill about those subjects. What? Like, was a lot more chill about, like, it's just shit like this. It's just shit. Like, you listen to this, it's like, okay, I don't think this guy is alt-right. I think this is bullshit. And the thing is, he goes on to talk about that he wants the United States to become an actually fair meritocratic society. What kind of fucking person on the alt-right says they want a fair meritocratic society? Absent that, he would settle for a white ethno-state where things are fair because there's no competing demographics for government power or resources. That sounds like something from the alt-right. But the thing is that before that, but that's not his preference. That's not his preference. His preference is an actually fair meritocratic society. So there's just a ton of shit in this that makes him sound like he isn't even alt-right. And yet, like, people act as though that the New York Times interviewed someone who's like a hardcore leader on the alt-right, and this guy's like a fucking monster. And it's like, I'm pretty sure he's just trolling. So, yeah. There's another rambling piece by the guy who wrote it, and he's like basically like, well, I don't know what to think. I just went there, I talked to this guy, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a fucking regressive retard working for the New York Times. I'm Richard Fawcett. Oh, this is so scary. Talking to a fucking Nazi. I guess that's pretty much it. I'm gonna stop the fucking broadcast. So, yeah. Let me open up the super chat and I'll take a look at that because I saw some popping up. And I'll answer some of those questions, but I'll probably go for maybe another half hour. And then stop it there. Dick Fawcett. That's right. Anyways, let me read these super chats. So we got some random array of letters and numbers that said for it looks like $5, either Australian or Austrian. The chemicals in the water made me like traps. That may be true. You have Evan K, who says, instead of for-profit prisons, send prisoners to fight in the military to pay back society like in the 40s. Maybe. I'm not sure the logistics of that. Cy Brav says, going to Kilroy, I'll buy you a bottomless beer. I'm not sure what that means. If it's some kind of convention, the answer is no. CJ says, legit question, why did Fox News do that? That was so bad to be looked down upon in the news world that CNN can get away with the nonsense that they do. Well, CNN didn't used to be as fucking ridiculous as they are now. And Fox News used to, especially right around the Iraq war time, they were really fucking bad. When George W. Bush was president, Fox News was really fucking bad. They were like really ridiculous, and they still are to a large degree. I mean, you just got to watch Fox News. They just promote propaganda. Like they'll lie by omission. They have just insufferable fucking pundits that just label every goddamn thing that's wrong with the country. They just put that on the fault on the issues with they lay everything at the feet of the left of any social problem. They're insanely hypocritical, unquestioning of their own side. Like there's a lot of shit that Fox News does that's ridiculous. But the fact is that the mainstream news, the rest of the news, and MSNBC, NBC, the rest, they used to be bad in many different ways, but they just became way worse. And CNN is just one of the big ones where they just went off the fucking rails. And half their fucking pundits at this point are just full-time activists, but it's for stupid shit. They're activists for like bourgeois social norms. But Fox News is not very good. I've watched like Fox News on television. They're still shit. There's just different aspects to Fox News that are not all bad. So Spyman says, the Sunday Lewds were my favorite shine boxes. I wish they did more of them. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. I did them yesterday and Saturday, so they're on Twitter and Gab if you want to go view them. But I appreciate you like them. I had a bunch of people quit. Only, I think, like 6 or 7 people immediately unfollow me once I posted them. But, you know, that's what you get on my timeline. Get some nudes. CJ says again, I also loved it when Lena Dunham defended the accused rapist writer. Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty fucking stupid. I'm also shocked when doesn't really believe, or Venn, I'm not sure who you mean by Venn, doesn't really believe in innocent until proven guilty. I mean, that's just a common thing now. Anything revolving around sex shit is guilty until proven innocent. It seems to be a real damning thing, and conservatives are not really helping too much in that regard. Seen a lot of shit, bad shit put forward by conservatives, not helping in the situation. Cy says, watch Hard Bastard's coverage of Sheraton. I've seen him. When I used to watch Hard Bastard, he defended Sheridan for a bit too long, in my opinion. That and a few other reasons is why I stopped watching him. Lost Wing just gave $2 for no reason. Thanks. He's got some sort of anime avatar. I assume you're a fucking misogynist. We got Carlos, who says, who is your Persona 5 waifu, and why isn't it Makoto? Makoto, in my opinion, is a bit of an archetype. I don't hate her character. I tend to like pretty much all of the characters, even the fucking faggy artist guy. Even he's actually warm to me. I should finish Persona 5 at some point. I really should, because Persona 5 is probably the best Persona game, in my opinion, that I've played. Let me look up her name. I haven't started like dating or whatever yet, but it's definitely heading in that direction in the playthrough that I'm in. Let me find it. Let's see here, because the way that it starts, I believe, is pretty much where you excuse me, you go to not Australia, you go to Hawaii for some sort of field trip. and basically somebody asks you what kind of women you're into, and you can basically choose from the different categories, and it's the women you've met so far. And pretty much, I think by then you meet all of them, with the exception of I think the chick with the poofy hair, who's the daughter of the rich guy, and I think you just meet her there. And who's the other one? The chick who the tarot card reader in the one district. That's the only other one I don't think you meet prior to that trip. But after that trip, I think you're introduced to all the women that you can date. So let me see here if I can find. Let me just look it up on the page here. Fuck, where's the search? Fucking Wikimedia or whatever, Wiki or whatever the fuck. Characters. Let me see here. No, stop moving. Persona 5. Okay, here we go. Let me see here, because I guess let me click on the protagonist and then I'll see. Let me see. You can personality, profile. Let me see, because there should be a place here where it says who you can date. Ah, they got like fucking spoilers here. Get the fuck out of here. Damn it. Worthless goddamn website. Let's see here. Oh, this might be her. Hanya is the fucking chick with the tarot card reader. Ah, here I got her. The chick that I'm interested in my playthrough is what does she play? What is the fucking game she plays? I got her name here. It's Fumi Togo. That's her name, and she plays Soji, I think it is. Let me see how to pronounce it. Is it Soji? Which is a Japanese board game. Or a strategy board game. Yes, Soji. So yeah, she plays that, and she, yeah, I like her. I like her character. I think she has a cute demeanor. I like the fact that she's a bit more serious in that of the different characters, although not abrasive like who is it? Somebody named it already. What's her name? Makoto. She's a bit too abrasive in my opinion. Kind of a bitch. But Hifumi's actually better, in my opinion. And she's also cute. She has a very cute personality. She's really into playing, and that to me is cute. I think that she's ambitious, but at the same time still girly. So yeah. See, Sargon fucking went half measure, man. He probably could have gotten a body pillow, but he only did the fucking the throw pillow because he's a pussy. Because he's unwilling to embrace the meme. Anyways, let me get back to super chats. So you don't know about Kilroy? All the skeptics are going. That's by Will May. I maybe, dude. I fucking work. All right. I don't have time to fucking go to conventions and shit. Give me one like in the far future that I can give a shit about, and I'll go to it or whatever. Undoomed says, "Damn it, I'm late. I hope you really you get your vein popping furious, and I'll go back and listen." The only time that I had veins popping in my neck when I was reading that Fox News article, because I was in I was embellishing the way that I speak so much. That had a vein popping in my neck, but that was about it. I think it fucked up my voice, too. Jason Leonardo says, why do you care so much about the porn industry? Because I'm fine with porn. Only faggots hate porn. I thought we hated the corporations. It's not. There are decent corporations. You can't just hate corporations, period. It's just about investor versus labor interests. Tell me what to think, senpai. Well, there you go. That's don't hate the porn corporations, with the exceptions of the ones that are trying to destroy our fucking society. Sai says Hard Bastard hasn't been defending Sheridan for a long time now. Check him out. I know who fucking Hard Bastard is, bro. I appreciate the shout out and the support, but I unsubscribed to him for a reason. Okay, apparently I skipped past that. Anyways, Lost says thanks for the support. Lost says I masturbate and objectify women, pouring out a glass of soy milk for you. I'd be careful about that. You might become a fucking soy boy yourself. Viking Insane says for $2 Canadian, being an orc would suck. Green penis, no thanks. Great input there, Viking. And Dale says again, maybe he felt insecure and thought he wouldn't be able to fit his whole body on a pillow. That's pretty mean. No, he could have. He could have, Dale. That one chick who is an artist, she gave him one that definitely was already matched for a body pillow. He just chose not to do it. So that is 100% confirmed that he had the opportunity to make a body pillow. And I even pressured him multiple times to do it. He chose not to because he won't embrace the meme because he's a pussy. So if you want to fuck with Sargon effectively, do one of those memes. You know, talk about the body pillow because he's insecure about it. Because if he wasn't, he would just embrace the meme. He'd just do it and make money off of it. And be like, if you want to buy these pillows, go for it. I'm gonna make some fucking money. And then the meme, in my opinion, would die. But he doesn't do it, so I think it's going to carry on. All right. So we will get to the comments. Thank you for those that supported me in the Super Chats. I appreciate that, as always. And we will get to the Super Chat, or the regular chat. And feel free to... Did you watch Medicare stream today? No, I did not. I clicked on it for a few seconds, but I don't really like Mr. Medicare streams that much, in my opinion. I don't really like him. But I saw him doing it, though. Why did you not go down in New York City and hang out with Sargon and JonTron? Well, I was working on that day, and they never gave me any... Well, obviously, JonTron didn't. But Sargon gave me no notice that he was actually going to come to New York. He just showed up to New York and said, by the way, Louis, I'm in New York. Come visit me. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm in fucking Syracuse right now. And you want me to drive all the way down to fucking New York City to see you? So it just didn't happen. He didn't give me any fucking prior knowledge. He just showed up and told me. So I couldn't drop everything. And I had to get up the next day by 6. So it wasn't possible. It wasn't feasible to go see him. So he's got to give me some kind of fucking prior knowledge before he shows up somewhere. I told him if he ever goes to Toronto, that's probably the best bet of when I can actually see him. Have you ever seen a YA fangirl? That's all the reason you need. Why would I want to see a fucking YA fangirl? Other than to who I need to fucking mark down on my list for who goes in the concentration camp. When the classic liberal concentration camps come, those are going to be on the list. Any YA fans whatsoever, they're on the list. Medicare is a smart guy. I would say so too. I think Medicare is a smart guy. I don't know what you're talking about. You should hire... Will May says you should hire the artist, order the pillows, and sell them to Troll Sargon. Oh, that's not a bad idea, bro. Dank versus... I don't give a fuck about Amos Lee. I don't want to talk about him. So I don't care. But yeah, that would be a good way to troll fucking Sargon, make money off of selling actual body pillows. But the problem would be that like it wouldn't really sell that much because no one would really know. I doubt it would really get very much coverage, in my opinion, if I actually did that. But if I ever wanted to fuck with them, I'd definitely do that. That'd be one of the good ways. I'd have to contact the artist, get like a big version of that image, and see what I can do to make that into an actual pillow. But yeah, I mean, I would if I was given prior knowledge, I would have shown up in New York City. I would have, even if it would have been a pain in the ass. If I was given prior knowledge, I would have flown there. I wouldn't have driven. Fuck driving in New York City. I would have flown there, and especially to hang out with fucking JonTron, bro. To get like a selfie with JonTron, that'd be fucking awesome. Let's see here. I know I had the chance. Has Medicare Senpai ever noticed you? I heavily doubt it. Should Alex Jones voice the Doom guy? I don't know. Should we send traps to the camps? No, traps are excluded from the camps. So that is official. Traps are not in the camps. Why do I hate Yao? Yai. Why? Excuse me. Why do I hate Yai? Why? Because it's gay. So I don't like why. And it's mainstream. It's mainstream as shit. I mean, it's in South Park, for Christ's sake. It's mainstream and lame. Have I ever considered doing a video on China? The government ignores them while they send spies, cyber attack us. Look up how many spies they have been caught in the last 10 years in our military. Yeah, it's not surprising, man. People, I mean, maybe at some point it would require a decent amount of research on my part of China, because there is so much out there about what the Chinese are up to. But the thing is that it's not something that I'm definitely aware of it, but it's not something I'm well read in. Like, it would require me to do a decent amount of research before I could do the video, and unfortunately, that kind of work just steers me away from it. I already told you, fucking traps are not going in the camp. Sai says, teach English in South Korea. You'd love it, maybe. I've been told South Korea isn't very great. I've been told Japan's better than South Korea to be in, especially if you're from the West. But I don't know Korean, so how the fuck would I teach English to Koreans when I only speak English? Let's see here. Have I missed anything? No, I don't believe I have. Let me double check Super Chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. No, I didn't. Okay. So yeah, I'll take a few more questions and then we'll finish this up, just so it doesn't go too long. I don't know Korean, and taught English for 6 years in South Korea. I find that hard to believe. Jesus. Fucking people in chat going on about chat or traps. I skip your videos on Japan politics simply because I'm moving there to escape politics stuff. Good luck. Well, I mean, with Japan doesn't seem to be as ridiculously polarized and political as the United States, where it's just unending. Like, I don't think it's possible to escape politics here in America at this point. In Japan, I mean, things seem to be kind of like on a very steady path. The only thing that I would say Japan has done that's pretty radical is the TPP. That was pretty radical, and that was Japan pushing that really fucking hard. So there definitely are some lunatic corporatists and globalists in Japan, even if everyone and their grandmother wants to tell me I'm wrong. They seem to be completely blinded by the shit that's coming out that's self-evident about there being globalists and corporatists in the upper echelon of Japanese politics. But the Japanese people are so opposed to just mass immigration and all the rest for every other nation but theirs, or I should say they're the only exception in terms of mass immigration. They apparently want mass immigration in every other country but their own, but they're still not in favor of bringing in people unnecessarily. I lived in Japan, and the English teachers in oh, fuck, what happened? Shit, I lost that comment. Oh, here we go. Joshua says, I lived in Japan, and the English teachers in Japanese school usually don't speak Japanese well. I don't know. Cat girls and fox girls of the future. Their pun that I'm going to time you out for that. You're getting timed out for that comment. Cat girls cannot consent, and that is the rule of this channel. Anytime anyone says otherwise, that is going to be grounds for being punished severely on this channel. Cat girls cannot consent, and saying otherwise is a crime on this channel. Let's see here. Shill Senpai, who is your favorite political commentator? I would probably say Sargon. Sargon is probably my favorite political commentator. If you mean political commentator in the traditional sense of like person on television, or maybe even just in the media, I have a few people. One of the only people that I listen to consistently is Tucker Carlson, and I only agree with him sometimes. But and I don't really like his show very much, but he's pretty much one of the only traditional people that I still read on or listen to on a regular basis. I don't listen to a lot of pundits because I don't take them really seriously. You don't actually teach the gooks anything. You're a white monkey coming up with language, exercises, and activities. Okay, thanks for that comment. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Somebody says Louis Le Vau, he could be an 8 out of 10 if you worked out. That's very true. I've said that before. That's very true. I still stand by that. I live for that tight cat girl pussy. Okay, sir, that's... You're in timeout just like the other buddy. Can't do that on this channel. Do you think Sargon could beat the alt-right in a debate? I've been trying to get Kilroy people to make it happen. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If there's anyone I would want to debate somebody on the alt-right, it would be Sargon. Because I don't think they're going to do well with him. In any kind of like antagonistic debate, I don't think they're going to do well. I think people really overestimate the alt-right in their debating skills and their knowledge. They've picked a lot of soft targets in terms of who they go after, and they make points that, as far as I can tell, don't actually hold any weight, and they just fucking rail on them, and then people go, "Oh man, that's such a good point." It's like, okay, well, yeah, like what is even the, like, I don't know. I've listened to some debates before with people that were that appear to be alt-right, and they just, you'll have like 1,000 people in the comments saying that this person was kicking ass, and it's like, I don't see it. I don't see what points they made that were that standout. So whatever. Did you hear about Louder with Crowder lying about Alexa's responses? Yeah, I talked about it on Twitter, and there's been a lot of people going back and forth about that, whether it happened or didn't. I have seen pretty decent proof to say, and it's from Dark Matter, had a video about it on a secondary channel that was pretty fucking good. And there's been other people too on Twitter that showed that there's a very good chance that at least a couple of the things that he used in that commentary of his as an example were flat out bullshit. The Jesus one being one of the biggest ones. It could have happened. It could have been true, but it could have just as easily been a manipulation. And in my opinion, it was. I honestly think that he did that on purpose, and it was he did manipulate it in order for it to say that. It's the Jesus part specifically. And if it's the Jesus part, who knows if there are other questions that he didn't otherwise manipulate. Crowder doesn't have a great history, with being honest. He's lied about shit before. He's been called out before. I think he's even apologized before. So he doesn't have a great history. And I don't even understand how the guy has like 1 million subs or fucking whatever. I really don't get it. Paul Joseph Watson, I'm subscribed to him. You don't ever hear me talk shit about him. And he's kind of bad sometimes too. I've seen him misrepresent things and the rest. But at the same time, it's like I can at least watch him. You know, I can't watch Crowder. Have you played that cyberpunk bartender visual novel VA11 Hall A? It's got Robo Sluts and Yuri Bait. Probably not. It doesn't sound familiar. Yeah, the alt. Well, that would probably be the difference of the alt-right. The alt-right would show up instead of the SJWs. You're probably right, Will. Let's see here. Cat traps. I'm gonna word ban as much as I fucking want to in this. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. This is my fucking stream. I'm gonna censor as much as I want to in this. I haven't watched this season of South Park, so I can't really comment on that. I've heard some bad things about it. It seems to me, in my opinion, I didn't release the video on it, but I played South Park, The Fractured But Whole, and it's actually pretty goddamn good, with the exception that they fucked it up. Where they there's a couple things about The Fractured But Whole that are fucked up. It appears to me that they actually had content that they planned to put in the third chapter of the game, but instead they extracted it and then are going to save it for DLC. And the reason, there's several examples that say that that's actually true. And one of them is that one of the you have it's called a kryptonite in the game, and it's a weakness. It's a vulnerability to one of the enemy factions, and one of them are vampires. But vampires are not actually in the game. They're going to be used as DLC. But the issue is that there's already content in the game that is for that content, and yet it's not in the game. So if you ask me, they cut content out of the game and are saving it for DLC. So there's that and a few other things about the game that, in my opinion, are an issue. But I like The Fractured But Whole a lot. I thought it was a significant improvement over the last South Park game. But in my opinion, over the years, I think you've actually seen a decent leftward trajectory of the two creators, and I forget their names, of the writers of the show. And that, if you ask me, they've actually drifted left, in my opinion. But you know, it's their show and they can do whatever they want with it. But that's my opinion on it. Let's see. Did you already comment about the ESA on the EA loot box happening? Thank you for that actual drop there, Nemesis. Expect a video tomorrow. That's what I'll say on the EA situation. Expect a video on it tomorrow. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the loot boxes thing. Expect a video tomorrow. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Yeah, thank you. I don't know if that's Ubisoft influence, because in my opinion, I've watched their show too, and I think there's been a left-wing skew a little bit. Cat girls are skooma addicts and thieves. They should be enslaved. Nice Skyrim fucking reference. Or Elder Scrolls, generally. Who do you think are more cute, Korean girls or Japanese girls? Well, just aesthetically, um, who's more cute, Korean girls or Japanese girls? For cute, I'll say Korean girls. But I would say for just generally, just your average girl, from what I've seen, more average girl being generally better looking, I would, or more Western maybe. So there would be less of a cultural difference. Maybe Japanese instead, but cute, I would definitely say Korean. I've seen many cute Korean girls. Will cat girls ever be able to consent? Only in a situation that they are cat girls that are the intellectual equivalent to humans. That will, and they have the equivalent rights to humans. And there are, like, anime and maybe visual novels that have that, where cat girls are pretty much just equal to humans in every conceivable way, and they're just treated as, oh, it's a different species but exactly the same. That's when there is consent. But more often than not, especially in visual novels, especially in Nekopara, which to me is the greatest example of this, they are in effect like just mentally defective. They act like they are mentally defective, and they definitely do not have equal rights to humans. Definitely do not. So in those games, in those visual novels, and in an anime that is presented in that way, then they cannot consent. And I actively do not like that kind of anime or visual novel. I actively don't like it. Somebody keeps just repeatedly say, talk about lesbian rape. Why? Why? Yeah, there are a lot of Asian women do get some plastic surgery. I'm aware of that. I don't really know if it's really acceptable in the West, where plastic surgery is incredibly common and superficial and petty. If we look to fucking the East and are like, oh man, there's so many Asian women getting plastic surgery. It's like, and white women aren't. They're not getting fucking plastic surgery in this country. So I find it a little bit hypocritical when people say that. I bet soy boys are behind lesbian rape. It sounds like fucking fag talk to me. Their cat Neko Marie. Anyone that starts talking in opposition to Yuri and non-consensual Yuri, it sounds like fag talk to me. What do you think about the surgery that widens Asian women's eyes? Depends on the surgeon. From my view, I've seen women, and it's also, there's like the whole eye thing is actually it comes in variations. It's like minimal. It's like four, I think, four types from what I've seen, and 3 and 4 are bad. 3 and 4 are bad. I don't like 3. I've seen women with the plastic surgery, and it couldn't be more fucking obvious. Their eyes look like fucking. You ever seen like black women or men that have like their eye like or popping out of their head like that? It looks like that. It looks terrible. So it definitely depends on the surgery and who their surgeon is. So I wouldn't expect, if I was going to date someone who's Asian, I wouldn't expect them to have plastic surgery on my account. But if they do the first two, which are minimal, then fine, because I don't think it makes much of a difference. But the 3 and the 4 makes them look like they have their eye popping out of their fucking head and looks terrible. But it's their body; they can do whatever they want with it. Do soy boys jizz soy sauce? Practically, because it's fucking worthless. Because it doesn't have any fucking, like, their uh, semen is like dead. You know, they don't. It's just like fucking dead cells coming out of their body. It has 0% chance of fucking impregnating someone, or a woman, I should say. Slant eyes are cute, sure. Drizzle's like, okay, this is when all you fags talk about gooks and how obsessed you are with them. He leaves. Fine, get out, Drizzle. We don't need you here. We're gonna be sitting here talking about gooks. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up to 2 more questions, and then we'll finish it off. Do you want to be turned into a woman and made subservient to your dominatrix sugar mama? No, I would not like that. That is not my position in a relationship. I'm kind. If you haven't noticed, I have kind of an abrasive personality, kind of a dominating personality. That isn't the position that I would like to take in a relationship. Because one of the things I saw is and I've said this before. Thankfully, I've never been in this kind of relationship. But if you've ever seen the that one really really famous anime, it's like or Omeo or wherever the fuck it's called. It's like it's whatever the anime is. I forget what it's called, but the thing is that it's a stepbrother and a step sister that basically have a romantic interaction. And the thing that is cute in the show to people that find it cute is that the little sister is physically and just emotionally abusive towards her older brother. And that is a relationship that I would never find cute, whether I was dating that person or whether they were just my little sister. And I'm an only child, so maybe this is just my bias. But I would never be in a relationship, and I wouldn't find it fucking cute if a woman commonly hit me or commonly pushed me or was commonly abusive. Like, the whole tsundere thing is cute to a verbal extent, but anytime we would get physical, like if a woman came up to me and shoved me or hit me or did something like that, and it actually hurt, you know, I wouldn't stay in that relationship. And the degree of which my how offensive I would take it would just increase by the extent that it would happen, because it would become less and less cute as it went on. And I would assume that for me to get it to stop, I would have to hit back, because I would just, it would move into the position of me considering that to be bullying. It's why I hate that show. And any show like it, where you have like quote unquote tsundere girls that are physically abusive to men, that I don't find that cute. And if I was in that relationship, eventually I would hit that bitch back. I would just give a very, very strong backhand across the fucking face. Because this is the thing. There are some very clear biological differences between men and women. And all it takes is one good shot with one good backhand across the face. Just catch her real good. And that's going to be the end of any kind of physical fucking abuse. So yeah, I don't like that. And I wouldn't be in a relationship like that. So that's one. That's one question. Let's get to the last one. I don't think they are related. I'm pretty sure that they are stepbrother and sister. Yeah, it's My Little Sister Can't Possibly Be This Cute. That's the name of the fucking show. I'm an alpha manlet. If I was in better shape, you wouldn't be calling me a manlet, but I'm not. I'm not fucking 5'6". I'm 5'10". So fuck off with that. I don't like people coming in this chat and like comparing me to fucking like Destiny and shit. I don't like that. Somebody was it Seraph Salt says, I have to say I dislike that show also in Tsundere. I don't really like Tsundere. I don't hate because I think there are Tsundere characters that work, but that's just that to me is like the best example of why I like a show I hate just because of one character. Oh my god! Now people are giving me shit about my height. That's great. Thanks. Tsundere Yuri is pretty good. Somebody just said that. Sachimo, I agree. I have seen that before. I have seen Tsundere Yuri. That is actually very good. So yeah, if you ever want to, it's typically good, I should say, because I've seen it before. King of Manlets. Oh Jesus. King of Manlets. Oh no. Oh no. Lewis doesn't like cat girls because they're taller. Oh no. Well, world's smallest skeptic. I'm sure I'm small to what's his face? Armored Skeptic. I think he's like 6'3". No, I'm not 6'1". Like I said, I'm 5'10". My voice is pretty high. I don't really know. I don't care, Mr. Fucking random words and letters. I don't care how you think I pronounce Japanese. I'm pronouncing Japanese terms as the Japanese do. Get some fucking Japanese person over here to tell me I'm wrong. That's the only way I'm gonna fucking stop, nigger. That's how. Bring somebody over here to tell me to stop. Otherwise, I'm saying them how I want to say them. Why do you think the gooks are cool, you commie bastard? I don't know about cool. Never said gooks are cool. I want to fuck them. Never said they're cool. It's exposure, in my opinion. It's just exposure. Yeah, TJ Kirk is fucking insanely tall. Yeah, he does have a small dick. I did see that tape. He does have a small dick, though. I can say this. I am not as tall as TJ Kirk, but I have a bigger dick than him. I'm not going to show you, but you're just going to have to take it at face value that I do have a bigger dick. My girlfriend is 5'11". Fuck off, fucking Impact of Redemption. Just because you fucking date a man and call it a woman, say that I'm shorter than her. Sure, bro. Yeah, Skeptic is doughy as fuck. I actually think I'm in better shape than Armor Skeptic. I actually think I'm in better shape. Do you want a cute, racist Asian girlfriend like me? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I know you, Humble, are not a fucking Asian woman, so I think you mean you want a cute, racist Asian woman like yourself. I don't know about racist. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know why she'd be dating me if she was a racist. If that was like her tsundere thing, like that she doesn't like white people, but she's willing to fuck me. That would be funny. I love how people are now pointing out the fact that the chick is 5'11" and no one believes that she's fucking a she. Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. You got a girlfriend that's fucking 5'11". I have only seen so many women in my life that were that tall. I had somebody that I worked with once that was a coworker that was probably either 5'11" or 6 foot. And dude, she was a big bitch. All right. Like she wasn't mean or anything, and I don't have a problem with her. But 5'11", 6 foot, that is incredibly fucking tall for a woman. That's like fictionally tall. Would you fuck a 7-foot Amazon? No, I don't think I would. Because Amazons are usually super muscly as well. I don't think I would. I don't really want a girlfriend that's like a fucking weightlifter or anything. Because it's not my body type that I'm interested in. Two, it would be fucking emasculating. Because I don't have that body type. So no, I probably wouldn't fuck somebody that was a 7-foot Amazon. Lewis likes Asian women because they make him feel tall. I'll even correct that spelling mistake you got there, Mitchell. I'm 6'5" and my ex was 6 foot. She was perfect for me. That sounds like bullshit. Oh my god! Now everyone's saying that oh man, bro, I was dating this chick. She was 6'10", man. I was dating this fucking. She was 6'5", bro. Bullshit. I don't believe any of you. Yo, man, I used to date this chick. She was 6'4", bro. I don't believe anyone saying this shit right now. I got a chat full of fucking liars. I can't remember if I answered a question or not. All right, let's just one last one. Let's get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. Oh man, little Lewis has little weeb syndrome. They're gonna have to invent that. Oh my god. Fucking like, oh man, bro, Dana, she's like 7'10", bro. She's like 7'10", bro. I met this girl, bro. She was 6'2", bro. She was an Uber mentioned, bro. 6'2". How short? Okay, so this is going to be the final question because I'm fucking sick of this. What is the shortest I'm willing to go when it comes to women? So, see, that's the thing. Like, I want to say probably because the thing is, like, I don't really have like a hard number on this. Like, it's just a matter of like attractiveness versus inattractiveness for height. Like, the taller you are as a woman, the less attractive you naturally are. The shorter you are as a woman, the less attractive you obviously are. So I don't really have a hard number when it comes to height, but I would say somewhere around 5 foot. That's a soft 5. Okay, soft 5 foot is where I would be in terms of height. Because, and I'm not saying obviously it's not a all man 5 foot, and that's it, but to me that right around there is when it starts to be a problem. Women 4'11" to 5'2" tend to be wild. That's on you, Frank. I don't really know. I couldn't really tell you in terms of that being trend that's true. Short girls are cute. Well, that's the thing. Like I would agree that short girls are cute, but the thing is that I don't know. It depends. Like if they're not very good looking and they're short, then that's a real problem. But if they are very good looking and short, then it is a good thing. It can actually be a good thing. Then they're really cute. But yeah, someone just said that they prefer women near their height. That's me. I prefer a woman near my height. Obviously, I would say shorter, but usually 5'4" up. That's usually preferential. But yeah, we're gonna cut it off there. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate all the super chats, and all that shit. And I hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to the video that should go up tomorrow, unless something drastic happens. Probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna have to cut things off because, as always, I have some reports I got to finish up for the weekend and get in before Monday, so I don't get bitched at. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, well, there'll be streams in the future. Be sure to follow the links below. Support me on Patreon. Buy some shit on JList and play Asia and all that shit. And thanks for stopping by.